Hey guys, what's going on? Thought I'd do my weekly Jeff Bishop's Bullseye trade review. So where I basically go over the trade that he picked for that week. It's one option pick, comes out every Monday morning via email, and it's usually pretty good. For a really good track record. This week was horrendous. I don't think anybody actually entered, but let's have a look at it and talk about it a little bit and see how it went overall. I didn't enter it at all. I've been mainly trading with thetatraders.com. And Lance from datatraders.com is one of the best traders in terms of consistency that I've ever come across, and he offers a 7-day trial to help run Theta Traders. I think it's a lot of fun. There's lots of hedging, so if the market goes down like it did this last few weeks, you really don't lose any money, which is fantastic. Often you make more money, which is even better than you would if you didn't have the market tanking. Lance is a phenomenal trader. There's a 7-day trial on the quarterly. There are upgrades where you can get some of the best consistent passive profits I've ever seen. I'm part of this one as well. I actively trade in all of these different tiers in the system, which you can look down here. There's a whole table of what you get with each one. If you have any questions about that, just leave me a comment. I can get you in touch with Lance. And definitely check it out. I think you won't be disappointed at all. I think you'll be extremely excited to be a member of thetatraders.com. Rapidly growing. We have hundreds of members now, and a lot of them are lifetime inner circle members as well. So a lot of really good traders, learning a lot, and it's one of the best financial choices I think you can make if you're a conservative trader who doesn't like to stress and spend all the time glued to the computer. So definitely check out datatraders.com. Let's get into Jeff Bishop's Bullseye trade for the week. It was Meta, also known as Facebook. I can't think of it as Meta really. It's kind of weird. And so here's the email that came out on the 14th of August, 5 days ago, on Monday morning at 9:13 a.m. Eastern Time. He said, last week was a disappointment, to say the least. I had such high hopes for DXCM. If you haven't looked at this, I have a full review, and I'll leave a link in the description below where you can find the whole track record for the Bullseye trades over the last year and a half, 2 years even. And you can look at each one. I put the ticker, I put the contracts he recommended, and I put roughly what the win or loss was on each one. Usually it's pretty good. Recently it's been hard. This week, well, we'll see what this week happened, but DXCM was pretty bad as well. So let's see. So he said he was mildly optimistic that the QQQ and the tech stocks would rebound. That really didn't happen. We continued to sell off horrendously. If you're trading actively, you know that. You know that we took a beating again, even though he said we took a beating last week. We took another beating this week, which is not the best. And he says, if I'm right, though, that that I'm optimistic that these are going to start bouncing, this will be a great time to get into large cap tech stocks. He was wrong, and that's fine. People are wrong. Jeff has 25 years of experience trading. He can still be wrong at times, and in this case, he was definitely wrong. As you probably saw, most tech stocks didn't beat their earnings reports and flopped. The biggest outlier is Meta, so he's basically going on an earnings winner. Strong earnings winners tend to be the ones that rebound first. Sure, this one still didn't though. And so I'm going with Meta as my top Bullseye trade idea for the week. Make sure you join the live session. I've actually stopped going to these. I'm so busy these days, I don't have time to go to these. But these are really good. If you decide to join Bullseye trades, which I highly recommend, it's a good service, I would definitely upgrade. I think they charge you an extra $40 a year or something ridiculous for this analysis, this live session. It's really good and it's really fun to listen to. So if you're going to do that, I'll leave a link in the description below where you can join. It's definitely worth doing, despite the fact that this was probably a really bad trade. I haven't looked at it in detail yet. I'm kind of doing this on the fly, so we'll have to see for ourselves as we work through the actual options contracts here. So he said, my plan for Meta this week is to get started with a half-size position somewhere near my target entry price, which you'll see below, and below is this one, 470. I'd like to save some room to add more to this trade if the options dip. They definitely dipped. If I'm wrong on this, I have a closing price of 295. 295 was pretty much hit straight away from what I remember, but let's look at the charts in a sec. If things go my way, I'm looking at 310 to 318 as the upsides. Alright, well, let's have a look and see what happened to Meta. First of all, let's see what people said. It's always kind of amusing reading the comments. So I'll see what people said in the comments if anybody actually got in this. My guess is very few did, and if they did, they're mad. So let's see. Gotta say, Meta never traded very good, not understanding why it's tanking so much. Any idea why the trade went bad? And Jeff basically replied here, and it's true. It's like the whole market, especially the tech sector, has been clobbered again this week. I thought we were headed for a bounce, but I was wrong. Fair enough. So Jeff closed the trade for a loss. The whole market is heavy. I don't think very many people would have entered this. Let's see. Yeah, so very few comments. It's kind of interesting, given how many people are in the service, the fact that there's only 19 comments, 3 or 4 or 5 of those are Jeff. It's pretty interesting to see the lack of engagement in Bullseye trades at the moment. Anyway, let's look at Meta from August 14th. So let's go to Meta right here. I think, let's see, August 14th. Usually I go, this is the daily chart. Usually I do like a different chart time frame than that. So August 14th was right here. So let's just zoom in on here. So yeah, pretty horrendous. So if you'd bought here and then managed to sell very quickly, you'd have done all right. Like if you'd taken profits quickly, boom, nice. After that though, you're screwed all the way down to here. Horrendous. Let's look at the actual contracts and see what this move, whether it would have triggered a buy or not, because that's a big point, right? Like it's got to actually trigger a buy, otherwise it doesn't work. So anyway, actually before we do that, 295, let's mark the stop loss here to show you kind of where it was. 295. So 295 was there. So that's the kind of move you're looking at to stop out. And of course it never went anywhere near the 315 or whatever up here. What was his target? 310? Actually, it did get close to 310. It's kind of interesting. Give people a chase on this candle. You know, almost have the trade there, right? That's actually interesting to see. But let's look at the actual options prices because they can be a little bit more helpful. So September 1st, 315 calls. September 1st, 315 calls. Let's see. Here's the 315 calls. Gonna send those to my charts like I do every week when I do this analysis. Here we go. So here is the chart for the particular options contracts, which were September 1st, 315 calls. And so he was saying the 470 would be a decent buy price. So let's find the right day first of all. September 14th. Zoom in on here. Zoom out just a little bit. All right, here we go. So this was the morning that it was announced on the left here. So there is a chance that people actually got in on this at 370. There's the bottom here. So bargain hunted at 370, could have been out at $5, almost $6. So a good 50% positive move here, potentially. Pretty cool. So it doesn't look like much, but it's significant, and it would have been close to the profit target as well on the underlying. So yeah, could have been a good trade if people had got in, down here somewhere. The question is, do you really start getting in down here when, on this dip? But yeah, still potentially a profitable trade here. Yeah, interesting. So it really depends how people played it. I don't see anybody saying that they did well on it, but I do know a couple of people that did play it. I guess this guy got in at $4, and that was 5 days ago. So that would have been, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, $4. So unless he took profits pretty quickly, he wouldn't be too happy at the moment because it fell all the way down to 45 cents. And I hope people didn't hold it all the way down here. They shouldn't have, because the underlying stock would have stopped out long before then. But there's a potential that people got some of this move, such as it was. Anyway, hopefully we start to see a bounce in the markets. I'm optimistic that we don't just keep seeing a sell-off here. I think we'll start to see a bit of a bounce back up here, hopefully over the next week or two. And hopefully you guys are staying safe and not losing money, hopefully making a little bit of money in this market. I know I'm about break-even-ish over the last 2 or 3 weeks, which I'm fine with, because it's not taking up any of my time. It's not like I'm thrashing around every day, taking day trades. I'm basically doing these swing trades in thetatraders.com or thetatraders.com. Still trying to figure out if it's theta or theta. Lance is convinced it's theta because he's an American. But in Britain, where I grew up and I did my physics degree, we use the word theta for this. In physics, you have theta as the symbol for various variables and parameters. And so I'd say theta, and he used to laugh at me, and he's saying it's theta. So I'm trying to get into the habit of saying thetatraders.com. Come and check it out. I don't think you'll be disappointed at all. I think this will change your financial future for the better. All right, guys, talk to you soon.